Hi, it's Professor Monty. Let's talk about finding the greatest common factor, the GCF. All right, so the idea is we're going to factor each term completely. I put terms in quotation marks because we're just looking at each group. Term really means things added or subtracted together, which we will be going into later. But at this point, I'm just using term as a generic word. The greatest common factor, the GCF, is the product, meaning we're going to multiply together, the largest factors that are common to all terms. Okay, so it's the largest thing that's common to all terms. A little confusing part of this is the GCF is really the smallest thing that goes into each of the terms. Now, this largest and smallest is kind of confusing to students. In the examples, I'll try to show you what I'm talking about. Okay, so I've got 4 problems. I just want to find the GCF of each one. So I look at my numbers. Now, I'll look at my numbers first, the 16 and the 4. And you may see that, 4 goes into both 16 and 4. And you're right, and that's the largest thing that goes into 16 and 4. 4 goes into both of them. So for my GCF, I'm going to get a 4, and then I look at the x's. Well, it's the largest thing common to both. Well, they both have at least 2 x's, an x squared. So the largest thing that's common is the x squared, just like the largest number was the 4, but notice 4 was the smaller number. It's the largest thing common was the 4, and the largest thing common is the x squared. So 4x squared, that's my GCF. So there's my answer. It's the largest thing that will go into each of these or divide out of each of those evenly, but it's the smallest thing they have in common. So kind of get your head wrapped around that. Same thing here. I look at the 5 and the 10 and the 3. Well, there's no number that goes into all those. There's 1 is the biggest number that goes into all those, and 1 we're not going to take as part of the greatest common factor unless that's the only thing that goes into all of them. So there's no number that goes into both of them, but they all have x's, and they all have at least 1 x. So the greatest common factor this time is just the x. Again, it's the smallest thing that goes into all of them, but it's the greatest thing they have in common. Okay, and then lastly, now if you're thinking greatest common factor is the smallest thing, well, we look, they both have a's. Oh, the smallest a was 5. Again, why is it the greatest common factor? Well, it's the biggest thing that's common to both of them. And then b to the third and b to the second, we just pull out the 2, b to the second. That's my greatest common factor. I'm not writing GCF this time. We know what we're looking for. We're all looking for the GCF. And then over here, no number goes in both 4 and 5 other than 1. And then the x and the y, they don't have an x in common. They don't have a y in common. So this time, in fact, we would write the GCF is just the number 1. Because 1 goes into both of those. If there's something like an x, we're not going to say 1x. Could we? Technically, yes. Would it be fully simplified? No. So if nothing else goes into everything, you'll just say the GCF is 1. So practice these. Again, this is a fundamental concept we need to understand to factor more complicated algebraic terms.